chose this week to get a new laptop. Never do that again. Right, okay, that seems to be working. Right, so, hello everyone, I'm Tim Wilson. I'm the VP of UK Studios at Sumo Digital. For those of you that don't know, Sumo Digital is one of the biggest developers in the UK, and they've got studios across the UK, Europe, North America and Asia, and I'm lucky enough to look after 9 of the teams in the UK, including Atomhawk, which is a visual development studio based just over the river in Gateshead. So before we get going into the presentation, I'll give you a little bit of a flavour as to what Atomhawk does. I've got no idea how loud the PA is, but it has got music, so apologies in advance. Okay, so lots of absolutely phenomenal artwork there. So Atomhawk was founded about 14 years ago, and it's a visual development studio. So fundamentally, everything you want that looks cool, from concept art through to production art through to marketing art, that's what the business is all about, okay? And I switched this presentation to be talking about Atomhawk because someone told me that today is actually my 8th year anniversary of joining that team. So I thought I'd reflect on kind of what's happened to that business that's taken it from a kind of a fairly small team to kind of a multinational award-winning business in the interim period. So the first thing I want to talk to you about is the side of purpose, okay? And I think it's one of the most important things that any business can have, and it's one of the most important things that any game can have, and that's just a sense of meaning, okay? So it's very easy just to kind of think, well, we're going to start a business and the reason for doing that is money, or because I've got nothing else to do, and that's just not good enough, okay? I think everyone needs to have this sense of a reason for getting out of bed in the morning, and that's exactly what we always look back to at Atomhawk. So the Atomhawk perspective and its mission is to be the gaming industry's go-to creative partner, okay? So that's a very clear vision and mission, and the purpose of the business is to effectively believe in unbelievable. So it's taking this idea of people can come to Atomhawk and expect them to come up with new worlds, new creatures, new environments, new anything, and you've got to be confident that you can make that a reality. Okay, so this is that kind of central position, that central rallying cry for the business. And this then cascades out to having like a very clear mission for the business, very clear purpose for the business, but also the drivers behind the decisions that the business makes. So some people call these values, some people call them pillars. It doesn't really matter what you call them as long as you have them, because they're fundamentally going to be the sort of the building blocks of your business. Now these happen to be the Atomhawk ones, but I encourage you all to think, what are your pillars? What are your missions? What's your purpose? What's your reason for getting out of bed in the morning? The Atomhawk ones, out of interest, they focus on this idea of a supergroup. So I don't know if you remember the supergroups of the 1970s, where you'd have a disparate bunch of musicians coming together, all of which are individually fantastic, but when you put them together on a stage, something magical happens. And that's very much this idea of Atomhawk as a collective. It's not just a freelancer, it's got to be a team. And we've got other things like this idea of creative freedom to grow, this idea of diversity being at the core of the business, and also this idea of standards, so exceptional every time. So what this effectively becomes, I mean, some people see this as like marketing fluff, and like a waste of time. Why are we doing this? Why are we looking at our vision and our purpose and our mission? But the reason is, if you can get this right and articulate it, it becomes a really effective lens for every decision you make for the business. So it's the people you hire, it's the projects you take on, it's the strategy, it's everywhere you're going to go. And if you can come back to this and use it as that sort of litmus test of, is this right and is this authentic? It's why we're doing what we're doing. Chances are you'll be making the right calls, okay? And what you really want is for your team to be able to reflect this, and everyone you hire should reflect this set of values. And it means that you're not going to hire everyone, but you're going to hire the right people. You're not going to take on every client, but you're going to take on the right clients for you. And that's all about being true and having a clear purpose and a clear vision. And ultimately, it's about empowerment. It's about giving you this kind of driving purpose that's going to get you from kind of a startup to wherever you want to get to, okay? So for each of these kind of areas I'm going to touch, I'm going to try and look at what are the benefits. So this idea of purpose, and I'd encourage everyone to take a look at what their purpose is. The benefits for the business are really clear. Having a clear purpose gives you a clear roadmap for growth. People talk about a 5-year plan and the P&L. That's fine, but you also need to overlay the kind of the why onto that. That's the human story. It also gives you this idea about what's your strategy, and your strategy always informs what your tactics are going to be. So the things you're going to do, the stuff along the way, how's it going to help you get to where your purpose is? And if you don't know what your purpose and your mission is, you're just doing stuff, and it's going to be quite disconnected. And the cold hard truth of it is that's actually really attractive to investors. So if you're looking to go to a bank for a loan, if you're looking to sell your business, chances are they want to know, well, why? What am I investing in? How are you going to get there? How am I going to get return? What's your vision? Why should I give you this money over someone else? And if you can create that compelling purpose, that's pretty big. For your teams, I'd say that it also gives them, like we've seen out the clear roadmap for growth of the business, but it also gives your people a clear roadmap for their progression. If they can see where the business is going and its purpose in 5 years, they can map themselves against that 5 years. If they don't think you know what you're doing, chances are they're not going to be around for long either, okay? So don't be afraid to map it, and then don't be afraid to share it. Don't put it in a filing cabinet. This has got to be something you share with your team and come back to constantly. And what's really compelling about this is if the team understand the mission and the purpose, they also understand the decisions that are being made. And that can include tricky decisions. So you may turn down a project. And if they can see that aligns to the purpose and the vision, they'll understand that. And they won't just think that management are crackers. Okay? So be open, be vulnerable with your purpose, and the team will go along with you. Okay? And finally, for your clients, this is an attractive thing. So clients want to know where you're going. Stability is actually quite sexy right now. People are not looking for wild cards. They're not looking for people that are going to fold up. They want solid. They want to know you're going to be here in 5 years. They want to know what you do different. Like, what is the point of working with this business? And also they want to know where you're going to go. So maybe you start off doing one service, but they understand, right, in 3 years, you're going to be adding on additional services, additional technology. That's great. They can align themselves to you, and that adds to the partnership value. So purpose is one of the most important things I'd say any business can focus on. Next one is culture. And this is a really hard one to put slides together for, because it's a very intangible thing. I think the best way I can describe culture is it's the stuff that happens in between the sort of formal things. So you've got policies, processes, pipelines, technology, systems. They're all very rigid. Culture is the stuff that happens in between, and it's the emotional stuff. So it's the way you talk to each other, it's the way you behave, it's the way you implement and articulate some of those policies and rigid frameworks. So it can be things like, what is the workplace environment like? We just had a fantastic presentation just then about Ubisoft and their strong investment in kind of workplace culture, mental health, well-being. So are you living a place that you want to be? We've all worked in good cultures, we've all worked in bad cultures. It's quite hard to articulate what they are, but you're damn right you know if you're in the wrong one. I think outside of just the sort of 9 to 5 though, you've got to be doing things that make your teams engaged. So Atomhawk do some great cultural initiatives. They do life drawing, for example. Like every month they do life drawings, sometimes with standard models. Occasionally a bunch of stormtroopers will walk in, and that's what you're sketching. We had owls in the studio the other day, which is a health and safety nightmare. But it's that stuff that you're doing on the edges that makes you not just a job, and ultimately makes you want to stick around and go for a beer. I think the only thing I'd warn against, though, and to use the kind of alliteration theme, Taco Tuesdays are not going to cut it. That's not what culture is. That's like a nice little thing, but culture is not just these little giveaways. It's got to be backed up with actual tangible actions. So think about your culture and think about how you can put your money where your mouth is. So a couple of good examples at Atomhawk. Atomhawk has a codified no crunch culture, no overtime ever, and that's enshrined. And I think we've had one person do paid overtime once in the past 10 years, and it was one day. And that's a rock solid commitment that we make, and it's in everyone's contracts. That's the sort of cultural initiative you can make that is a real point of difference. The other thing that Atomhawk has done is to set out a very, very established career development pathway. Okay, so this idea going back to the values of investment in creative development and personal progression. So we make a commitment. If someone joins, we will take them through the gears and through the grades as quickly as they can push through them. So this is one of my favorite examples of this. You'll wonder why I've got random photos of Minecraft up. So it's actually the story of this guy, Matt. That's Matt over there. So Matt joined us as a graduate from Teesside University as an intern, full of bags of potential, but no experience. And he said, look, I want to get there. I want to get to be a principal. And we're like, okay, you join us as an intern. We'll get you there as fast as you can do it. Within 2.5 years, Matt was art directing Minecraft photo shoots on the Universal backlot in LA and had achieved a principal grade. And he'd worked through every objective we'd set him. We pushed him through training programs, and he'd hit every single thing we said. So that's a great example of a culture of learning backed up by actually delivering what we say we're going to do. Matt's no longer with the business. He's making movies now. It's absolutely brilliant, but he's kind of a hawk, and he learned so much from the business when he was there, and I couldn't be prouder of him. So culture, really important thing to get right. The benefit for the business, obviously recruitment and retention. People want to work for cool places, and they're going to stick there. So it's worth the effort. It actually delivers improved performance. The KPIs are that engaged, effective teams produce better results. So it's just good business sense to make sure you pay attention to it. And you can also win some great awards, and also it's a great way to benchmark yourself against other people in the industry. And people are cottoning onto this. It's no longer just fluffy stuff. People really want to know about your engagement scores. They want to know if you're a sort of GI.biz's best place to work, that kind of stuff. For teams, I mean, it's that human stuff. It's meaning. It's a sense of belonging. It's a sense of engagement. I don't know about you, but I like going to work and not stressing about being at work. I like working with people I like, and why wouldn't you want that? And so let's build places that are fun and enjoyable and challenging. We want to be pushed. And finally, for clients, it's that customer experience, because your culture kind of bleeds out of your business. When you're on a call, when you're meeting someone, they will just suck in what that culture is like. And if that culture is maybe not right, they're going to pick up on that pretty quickly, and they're not going to want to work with you. So I would say the customers want people they're going to work with, and ultimately there's that synergy. I always say you get the clients you deserve, and I think that goes to show most clients will pick the people they want to work with and people they bond with. So if you can get that synergy, chances are you're going to have a great working relationship with your partners. If you're maybe living a toxic relationship with those clients, that's not too good. Okay, so culture, super important. As we say, really difficult to push culture externally, very difficult thing to demonstrate. And so this comes to my final point, which is around community. Okay, so our communities can mean many different things to different businesses. It could be your players, it could be your employees, your fans, it could be your clients. There's a whole host of different communities, but engaging with them in a meaningful way will absolutely get across what your business is all about. So a couple of examples of things Atomhawk's done over the years. So this was a lovely campaign called Studio Quest that was done in collaboration with Epic and ArtStation. And this was six 30-minute episodes of what it's like to work in a video game studio. Okay, so we took different stages of the art development pipeline, from concept through to production, through to marketing art. We spotlighted one of the artists and went behind the scenes of what it means to build a piece of work. But this wasn't just a fluff piece. This was actually trying to say, you know what, working in games is bloody hard. Clients can be difficult. They can change the brief. They can give you shitty feedback. They can actually be, this is what it means. So it was very much a behind the scenes educational piece. And this was put out to ArtStation because you get a lot of people coming into the industry thinking, hey, I'm going to be painting Batman. It's going to be great. I'm just going to draw pictures all day. It's like, yeah, it is great until someone tells you your picture of Batman's rubbish and you've got to change it, or it's no longer Batman anymore because we're changing it to something else. And being able to cope with that feedback is really important. And so that's what this series was very much about. And the reason we did this was it was a cool experience for the artists involved, absolutely, but it was actually giving back to the community. If we can educate people on what it means to succeed in this industry, we're going to get better recruits and we're going to get better understanding, okay? So that's one of the things we did, and again, big community piece. Slightly differently, a couple of years back, we did a exhibition at the Great North Museum, or Hancock, as some people may call it, over up by Newcastle University. So this was a chance to show off some of the work, okay? From you could argue it was just, here's some beautiful artwork, but it was actually more than that. This was all about explaining the digital art process and the importance of culture, history, artifacts, all that kind of stuff about how it can inform modern day entertainment. So for example, Darth Vader's helmet, there's a reason it looks like a samurai kind of helmet. It's because it's all been informed by culture. So this was a great partnership with a local museum, and what we did with this one is we got a school engagement program. So we brought in all schools from around the region. They would come in, they'd get workshops with the art team, they'd find out about what it means to get into games, and again, sowing those seeds of what it means to work in video games and how you get there, okay? And the final one is an annual thing that we like to do at Atomhawk, which is an art competition. So again, this is open to the entire digital art community. Doesn't matter your skill level, doesn't matter your style. This is very much an open brief. Each year we chuck it out there and we give people the gauntlet, and then people apply and find out what our artists think of them. So we've got prizes, we give away technology, we give away mentorships, and we've even hired some of the people. So 478 submissions last year, really, really interesting bunch of people. Now, you could kind of argue none of the stuff that we've put up here is like direct marketing, and none of it's got anything to do with the actual sort of day-to-day sales, but we think this is actually the most important stuff we do, okay? Because this communicates what the studio is all about, and this makes, when clients are looking at this, this is more than just another supplier. This is a business that people want to be part of, that engage with its community and give something back. So community is super important. Nurture them and they will look after you. So the benefits of the business, obviously these things are brilliant PR marketing and great hooks for branding. One of the biggest challenges of working at Atomhawk is that 99% of the stuff they're working on can't be talked about because it's under NDA, so you have to kind of make your own look. And it's great from a recruitment point of view because people want to get involved with those kind of studios. From a team perspective, because the team are the people that are making these things happen, it's all about authenticity. They want to know that this is a business that truly cares about art. It could be about code, it could be about whatever you do, but if you truly care about it, your staff are going to care too. It's a great way to engage. So, and finally, it's fun. These are good things. Like, always try and do fun marketing, and that way people throw themselves into it. And the final point for clients, it's a great way to like demonstrate innovation. So maybe if you don't find a project that you can actually get paid to do this stuff, do it yourself. Like, go out there, demonstrate a new technology, demonstrate a new pipeline. It also shows that when people are looking to work with you and they're lining you up against another partner, they may be thinking, actually, you know what? I like the cut of these guys' jib. Like, they're a good ethical choice. They engage with the community. They give stuff back. So it's the right thing to do. And finally, people buy from people. They want to be doing stuff with good people that do good work. Okay. So over my 8 years, what are the three things I think have had the most impact on Atomhawk? It's purpose, it's culture, it's community, and I hope they succeed for many years to come. And that's me. Thanks very much.